You know that others have called you a liar. We went through that last time. And you said that you've admitted to the times you've lied before. So I think it's really important for you to clear this up for your own credibility. Either you were lying to me then or you're lying to me now.
Well, I'm not saying I was lying about anything. I just don't recall the comments. I don't recall what I've said.
This case is about a teenager named Sharmini Anandavel who disappeared from her apartment one day in June 1999. Police believe that she was going to a job that day, but they think that actually the person who offered her that job lured her away and then killed her. For 4 months, she was listed as missing, and 4 months later, her remains were found in a ravine not far from where she lived. 20 years ago, I wasn't sure what to think of Stanley Tippett and whether or not he was involved somehow. He was obviously the main suspect for police, and he was an obvious suspect. He lived in her building. Everything seemed to point to him. But I've always been wary of investigations that seem like this. Police have been known to have tunnel vision. Stanley Tippett is definitely a complicated person, and he's somebody who is very used to answering questions. He was interrogated by the police many, many times. So we had to really think about how to go about trying to interview him.
Do you ever think about that case anymore? I mean, in some ways, I think Haig said, once you became a suspect on that case, police had pigeonholed you. You were going to be always a suspect.
Well, I think, as a lot of people say, when they're investigating people, they're always looking, they have to look at everybody. And that's how they basically, like everybody, they look at everyone. And there were more than one suspects. And, so like to me, it's I can't really get into giving you more information when I don't know.
I remember coming to visit you kind of week after week in Oshawa, and I would tell you, I'm like, Stanley, I think you killed her. Do you remember that? And you would still talk to me.
I don't recall everything. I don't recall everything you said.
But surely you'd remember that. Because I was always amazed that you kept talking to me.
I don't recall that. I don't recall, I don't recall that conversation. I'm not saying that I don't recall you saying that, but I just don't recall, basically it's something that I don't wish to discuss because I have no information that would be helpful. I have no way of really proving that I'm a good person, except for when it comes to my family and when it comes to my children and my relationship with my wife and the things I've done in my life. But when you look at, I've been in for over 10 years, I haven't, I haven't done anything, I haven't done anything, violent.
As we've told you what other people say, it's very important to give you a chance to respond, but also it's important to point out the inconsistencies and just get you to say what they are and you can explain them.
I think it's best that, because of the nature of this, I think it's very important that this is something that should be this should be investigated by the proper authorities. And anything that's when you're saying about inconsistencies, that should be left with the authorities to investigate and to do their job. I don't want to add add information on top of what I've already given.
So in the article in 1999, I'm just going to read you what you told me at that time. And it said, Tippett was able to fit in among the youths in the building, and with only occasional work cutting grass, he had lots of time. And he said he took Sharmini, her brothers, and others in the building swimming. He also taught judo to about 10 of the youths. Tippett stressed he was always very careful to get the parents' permission before walking or driving the youths anywhere.
I don't recall those comments. Again, this is something that I'm not comfortable talking about something that, especially with 20 years ago, I'm not.
I understand, but I mean, so much of what you want to prove in this case and all your cases goes to your credibility. And you know that others have called you a liar. We went through that last time. And you said that you've admitted to the times you've lied before. So I think it's really important for you to clear this up for your own credibility. Either you were lying to me then or you're lying to me now.
Well, I'm not saying I was lying about anything. I just don't recall the comments. I don't recall what I've said, and I don't want to be saying. I don't want to be adding more to what I don't want to be adding more.
Well, so last time I asked you this question about the kids, and you said, I wouldn't give them a ride in my vehicle. No, 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 no. I wouldn't give them a ride in my vehicle. A couple times I told them they could come along, and maybe with their families, they could drive there in their car. That was a couple months ago. 20 years ago, you told me that you had lots of time and you would give them rides. So I'm trying to figure out what the truth is here. If you didn't recall, you could have told me that last time. I don't recall, but you specifically deny what you said before. Do you understand where the problem is?
I'm not. To me, I'm not sure exactly. I'm not exactly sure what you want me to say.
Okay, then I'll just make it really, really simple. We can do yes and no answers if you want. Did you ever teach kids judo?
No.
You never did. Did you ever drive kids in the building to swimming lessons?
No.
So what you told me a few months ago was a lie.
What do you mean?
What you told me 20 years ago was a lie.
I don't recall my conversation, what I said 20 years ago.
But I'm showing you the quote in a newspaper.
Oh, okay. No, I don't recall what I said 20 years ago.
Why do you think you would say that to me?
I don't recall my conversation. I don't recall having that conversation.
You don't recall speaking with me?
No, I don't recall saying, what I said. I don't recall what my conversation was.
We did talk last time when we did our interview and 20 years ago about this issue of the job. And I know this has, plagued you over the years in both Sharmini's case and a couple others. So I want to review that.
Just to, stop you there, I'm not interested in talking about the Sharmini case or anything else to do with that.
Why?
Because I feel that this is something that should be left with the proper authorities, like the investigation. Because as it's an open investigation, I don't want to be talking about something that I have no other information that can that can help the case.
But you can.
I don't believe I have a right to say I believe that I don't, and I don't wish to discuss any further.
There were 2 hours of that day where your car was overheated.
And I don't have any information. 20 years ago, I was able to account for my whereabouts, and the police, they did did their investigation, and I would rather not discuss anything else. Well, I can only say that it's a tragedy. Like, it's as a parent, I can't imagine what the victims. I can't imagine what her family's, how they're impacted by this horrible thing that's happened. I can only say that I'm not responsible. I didn't do anything wrong, and it bothers me that the people are trying to I think that a lot of time has been wasted, like in the investigation. I think when it comes to the investigation, I think a lot of time was wasted. I think they wasted a lot of energy focusing on the wrong people, and I know that when they're investigating everybody, and everybody who everybody that they think that they can get information from it. And I think that's important, but I think they focus on the wrong people, and sometimes information,
What do you want to say to Sharmini's family? Because they do think you killed her.
I can only say that I didn't do anything wrong, and I can only say that that my heart goes out to their family, and I hope that the person responsible does, fortunately I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's important that, I just wish that this never happened. I think this is horrible, and I just think that there's nothing that can be said. Like, I wish I could help, but I can't. And
You said you don't think the person held responsible will be held responsible. Why?
I think that to me is that I feel that people investigators didn't they should have done a better job by investigating. I think they went in the wrong direction.